Good afternoon. My name is Sawyer Duncan, and today I want to talk to you about how I've learned in English 112 and how I've incorporated that into my work. So I want to start with my notes. Let me pull those up. So I want to start with the importance of note taking. You gain a lot of knowledge from taking notes, and so I learned how to properly take notes, how to write in MLA and APA format, how to cite in MLA and APA format, which I also struggled with some because I referenced entire articles at times rather than short sections of them. Um, and then I didn't have a page number or paragraph number to put. I was taught to think critically, how to analyze and to interpret texts. Um, I learned how to write an essay using the writing process. Um, I learned terms that I really didn't know before, and it helped honestly with a lot of assignments. For example, the difference between whom and who, and it's like whom whom means this. You use whom in this scenario. Um, I learned how to prep, like the using the things above, like I said above, um, like thinking critically and using the writing process. I learned different methods of taking notes, of outlining, and of writing, and then I found the one that best suited me. Um, and then I learned how to use the material and reference it. So, for example, if I scroll down towards the bottom, when I was reading Fahrenheit 451, and like right here, tomorrow, tomorrow, and tomorrow, I took notes while I was reading, and um, I was able to do my assignments a lot easier because I knew I was able to reference back to that stuff. Also improved on my notes. If you look at the notes I've um, like right here, how I was taking notes versus how I took notes at the beginning of the semester. Scroll up to the top, you'll see they're all just in a straight line. Um, and they weren't very concise, they weren't very clear, and they weren't organized at all. And I improved on that during the semester. So now I want to look at my website. So if we start here, so I want to start off with the fact that Fahrenheit 451 is probably one of my favorite books I've ever read. I read it for the first time freshman year of high school. I'm a junior in high school now, so 2 years, and I missed a lot of stuff the first time. I think I gained a lot of maturity since then, and so I'm a lot better at reading into things now. So let's start with the home screen. Um, so the background is a book with matches in it, so it's like a matchbox book, and I think, well, first of all, that's one of the covers for the book, but it also is just very strong. Like it shows you what happens in the book, or it gives you insight to the book. Um, so I titled it "Analyzing Bradbury's Attempts at Awakening Us by Foreshadowing the Future of Mankind." So I think that was an appropriate title for what you'll see my themes are. Um, On the novel page, I gave a quick explanation of the book. Fahrenheit 451 is a dystopian novel written by Ray Bradbury. It takes place in a futuristic United States of America where books are burned by firemen to suppress knowledge and free thought. As a result, a lifeless, non-diverse society is created. So I include a picture of Ray Bradbury here, and then I gave when he was born, when he passed away, his occupation, and the things he was best known for. I think it's very important to have the things he is best known for because someone who has never read his books, or yeah, or has read one of them and not the rest, can be drawn to want to read the other books because they like one of the books he already created. We start looking at the themes. I think so. These are my focal points of the essay They contain some pretty strong ideas. Um, they were very detailed, and I think I utilized outside sources pretty well. If you look at the picture here, um, so Clarice opened Guy's eyes to the society and what was happening. And so it was like going from black and white to color. That's why I think this picture illustrates that very well. So I'm just gonna go through all of these different paragraphs and give you elaborated parts or just small parts into it. Um, so the thesis, Bradbury is trying to foreshadow peril and innovation and their correlation in our futures. Censorship is not my topic, but my statement still goes back to censorship. It talks about the importance of knowledge, critical thinking, and awareness. And without these, we cannot see the truth in the world. We cannot think for ourselves, and we can't expose the unacceptable things and try to improve them. We go down to Bradbury's mission down here. Um, so if you look at how Clarice and Faber kind of guided Guy and opened his eyes to things, Bradbury has done the same thing, and I think that's what his intention was so that we could um see things for what they truly are. And then we can help others see and can eventually change the world. We look at mental health and technology. So suicide is more prominent now in both the book and in our society. It's in part due to technology, and that's research shows that. Um, so I wanted to give you an example of technology having this influence. So there's a story that I read, and it was in an article, and I included it in my essay. So, one man in Belgium confided in artificial intelligence when he was having suicidal thoughts. And eventually, after talking to the AI helped him make the decision to commit suicide. It's a very sad story and just really hits me in the heart. But it's very strong to see how AI doesn't understand things as humans do, and so AI can't really do what humans can do for each other. If we look at um, the technological advances, many of these things were many things like technology today were kind of predicted by Bradbury, who wrote this book in the 50s. But um, like for example, the seashells are like small speakers in the ears, and what does that sound like? Wireless earbuds. Um, the parlor walls, they're like giant TVs. Um, with AI inside of them, like how Mildred talks to the quote unquote family is like us talking to AI. So there's a lot of things that seems like Bradbury predicted because those things didn't exist when he wrote the book. I found that very interesting. And then the last thing in themes is oppression and persecution. So they're very small, but there's a lot of examples of persecution in the story, and they might be missed by some people. Um, so for example, the woman that burns with her books is being oppressed, not only because well, because she has the books and she doesn't want to give up the books, and so she ends up burning with the books. And so you could almost consider her a martyr. Um, the suppression of books is oppression, and then some of those books are religious books, which you could consider that religious oppression. Um, so there's oppression all throughout the world. Nowadays, some of the biggest ones are religious and racial. Um, I touched on two in my essay. One was Christianity. Um, so I'm going to share a few statistics. So 1 in 7 Christians are persecuted worldwide in 2024. That is a rise from 2021, where it was 1 in every 8. Also, Muslims right now are being persecuted largely around the world. Turkic Muslims in China are being oppressed right now. Um, many of them are being imprisoned and tortured. And a few years ago, the United States, Canada, and the Netherlands came out and said that what China was doing was basically genocide under international law. It's really sad to see happening around the world. So this is my video page. I have a quick um, overview of what it says. So we may be with people physically, but technology draws our attention away from them. We cannot have meaningful conversations when we're not fully focused on what they're saying. I said oftentimes we are on our phones when we're out with friends and even at the kitchen table with our family. Um, let's go to the conclusion. So in my conclusion, I, basically it just reiterates that Bradbury created this dystopian world to help awaken the humanity or our humanity, so that we might make a change and become more aware of how society is and stop letting technology control our lives. In the works cited page. So if you look at the works cited page, I have about 12-ish works cited, ranging from images, videos, and articles, and also the crossword, which we're about to get to. My interactive page is a crossword activity with 10 words pertaining to what I talked about in my essay and in the website. And then this is my personal bio with my picture and then a short overview of me. So now let's look at assignments. Okay, let's go to the first one, the short response one. Okay, short response one, I talked about improving on my weaknesses in the writing process. Um, my weaknesses were brainstorming and outlining, and throughout the semester, I definitely improved on those. Also, like I mentioned earlier, read assignments beforehand so I could look into the assignments I was doing while I was reading, and find what I needed. Likewise, I got better at active reading and researching, and like I said, the notes for Fahrenheit 451 earlier um, just helped me get through writing. Short response two came pretty easily to me. We talked about what a thesis is and the importance of it, and I talked about a thesis, like thesis statements and all of that for years now. And so I knew the importance and the information covering the thesis, and they came pretty easily. Short response three was basically talking about false beliefs, like what we believed before and something we know is wrong now. And my belief was that smart people go to college and that dumb people don't. And that's not the truth. College is not necessarily for smart people. There's a lot of dumb people that go to college, and not all smart people go to college. Um, I said that college is not necessary for a well-paying career. Sometimes college is needed to do what you aspire to do. And some people find success without college, but some people use college as a way to seek opportunity. Let's talk about short response four. Okay, so I talked about how there was this misconception that Hurricane Helene was man-made. So this came right around the time of the hurricane, and it was a big topic. So my political mind had me believe there could be some truth behind it. I'm technically registered as a Republican because I didn't know I could register as an independent, but I'm more of an independent than anything. Of course, I can't vote yet, so I didn't get to vote. But I leaned further right in this election specifically. Um, so I think that and then the people I was around had that impact on me that I actually believed that this could be a possibility. But then I looked at logic and science, and I realize it's impossible at the current moment. So don't let political beliefs blind you to facts. Um, that's one thing I love about writing is how you can express your beliefs. Um, so I'm gonna touch on that in the next topic too. Okay. So short response five talked about the importance of literature. So I mentioned that literature is not just stories, it's backgrounds, heritage, beliefs, new perspectives, diversity. And so when I talk about beliefs, that could be religious beliefs, science beliefs, anything like that. Um, Something I struggled with was poetry. Um, I think even though we didn't do a lot of poetry throughout this semester, I think just diving deep into stories and stuff, I was able to really understand um, the true meanings behind things, which is a big part of poetry. Um, so literature, I mentioned at the end that literature will have everlasting effects on its readers. So let's go to the AI essay. Okay, so this might have been my favorite assignment, um, to the point where I even used my essay as a guide for the outline I did for a public speaking presentation where I talked about the truth behind artificial intelligence threats. Um, so most of my conclusion came through research and then somewhat of opinions, but not as much opinions. Um, so I started, of course, with my abstract. Then I talked about the background, and then I went to the risks and concerns of people with what AI could do. But then I explained how the real risk is from who is using AI and who's programming it, and not just AI itself. Then I, by the end of my um, essay, I was able to show the point that what we need to do is let the government control these three things. They need to be able to oversee and set limits on development. They need to secure developments until they're ready for public use, and they need to create and enforce AI laws. These are the three ways to manage these AI threats. So, um, towards the end, I addressed counter arguments, but was able to disprove them. Let's go to my other essay, which is about tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. Um, what I basically got from it was that um, immortality um, and longer lifespans have severe consequences. So, although we don't have this yet, there's been talks of it. And basically, what this causes is overpopulation, limited resources, and greed. And this greed can also go on to undeveloped countries. I talked about that in my essay. Just how um, if people jack up prices on um, whatever this substance is to allow longer aging, then poor people can't have them, so it's a limited resource. I hope that this work included in my final submission reflects the teachings of this class. Thank you.